Today I'm going to show you how to manage your entire data platform using an MCP server. And the tool that makes it possible is called Definite. You connect your data sources, it syncs everything into a hosted data warehouse, and it has a semantic layer so that your metrics stay consistent. And of course, a visualization layer for dashboards and reporting. You can do this all through the UI, but if you're watching a video on MCP servers, you probably prefer the Claude Code workflow anyways. And the setup is one command. You grab your API key from Definite and then you execute it in the terminal. And let's double check that it worked. If I run Claude MCP list, there we have Definite. Perfect. So now Claude Code has access to over 40 tools, from querying data to creating integrations to building data pipelines, you name it. So let's say I want to connect a data source to my account, like Stripe, for example. We'll simply ask it to connect my Stripe data to Definite. Easy enough. And from there, you'll be prompted to add your API key to that platform or your username and password, OAuth, whatever is necessary to get that data connected quickly. And since my Stripe data is already connected, I'll move on to some querying. So I'm going to ask Definite to show me the total Stripe charges by month for the last 6 months. And as you can see, Definite's going to go through its current integrations, it's going to look at the database, and it's going to run a few SQL queries so that it can answer my question. And here it gave us 6 months of charges broken down by month, and it provided a nice summary at the bottom. And here's where things get interesting. Instead of writing raw SQL, I'll ask for MRR and ARR, which are calculations in the semantic layer. And if you look here, you can see that Definite is using tools called Search Cube Schema and Run Cube Query, and these are all from the semantic layer, meaning that MRR is calculated the same way every time, no matter who asks. And that's a big deal. If your CEO or some executive asks, what's my MRR, what's my ARR, you don't want a different calculation every time. You want the governed definitions that your team has already agreed on. Now let's ask a question that requires Definite to combine multiple data sources. So I'm going to ask it to show my MRR by customer segment and open pipeline by industry. To do this, it will need to use Stripe and our CRM Salesforce. And similar to before, Definite is going to search the cube schema, it's going to run some queries, and eventually it's going to give us a very clear and concise answer. And these terminal outputs are great for one-off questions and ad hoc analysis, but oftentimes you or your team want a dashboard. No problem, Definite handles that too. So we're going to ask it to create a dashboard of the information that we see here. And for this task, the MCP is going to call a create doc tool. And as we scroll down, we'll see a live dashboard built directly from Claude Code. It's queryable, it's shareable, and it refreshes with your new data. And you can send the link to your team to view immediately. Let's see what it looks like. So at the top of this dashboard, we see the total MRR and ARR, as well as our churn rate. And below that, we see the revenue and churn by customer segment. And if I click one of these drop downs, like mid-market, for example, I can see each of our individual customers in that segment and their current status. And below that, we can see the MRR by industry in this graphic, as well as the churn rate by industry. And now let me show you how to update this dashboard from the MCP. So let's say I'm an executive and I like this dashboard, but I'm not comfortable or I don't totally understand what you mean by total MRR. What's the calculation? Where does this data come from? No problem. So I'll go back to the MCP and I'll ask it to add hover tooltips to the KPIs that show how the number is calculated and what the data source is. And right on cue, it made the updates using HTML and it tells me exactly what it updated. So let's go take a look. So now if I look at total MRR, there's this little icon and it shows me exactly how MRR is calculated and what data sources it uses. That's how you build and manage your entire data platform using Claude Code. The Definite MCP handles the warehouse, the connectors, the semantic layer, and we're constantly making updates to make the user experience even better. So if you're interested, check the link in the description. We'd love to have you try it out.